So,
Well, yeah, this is the point here. Book of Watchers is part of the Dead Sea Scroll. It was this is how the dating happened. How this is the fragment that they used to date this Book of Watchers. Right? So um right. So chapters 1 to 36 is the Book of Watchers, and it's dated around 300 to 200 BC. And then you go to the astronomical books, which is chapter 37 or 72 to 82. Again, likely third to second century. And then you go to the Book of Dreams, chapters 83 to 90, dated around 165 BCE. And then the Epistle of Enoch, chapter 91 to 105, late second to first century BCE. Right? And then going to the Book of Parables, chapters 37 to 71, around first century, 100 BCE. Okay, so the dates are derived from textual analysis and also based on historical allusions mentioned inside the book. For example, events like the Maccabean Revolt. And then there's manuscript evidence, including fragments found from Qumran, the Dead Sea Scroll. Right? And then there's also works originally composed in the Aramaic or Hebrew tradition with later Greek and Ethiopic translations. Okay. Apparently, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church consider this book, the Book of Enoch, as part of their canon.
yeah.
Right. Okay, so to note, so there are other books of Enoch. So the Book of Enoch that we just talked about in all these chapters 1 to 71 is the first Book of Enoch. There are two other copies called Second Enoch and Third Enoch, also known as the Slavonic Enoch, is the Second Enoch. And then Third Enoch is the Hebrew Enoch. It's around 5th century AD. Right? So these are the later additions to the original.
So around the same time as the sort of Bible was being finalized.
Being canonized, yeah.
Well, in its traditional sense.
It's like whenever I get into conversations with a lot of people about the Book of Enoch, I always try to make that distinction too, because a lot of people don't understand there's actually more than one Book of Enoch. And a lot of times they quote stuff out of the second Book of Enoch, which has absolutely nothing to do with the original text.
Right. And the later two are like written way after the original. Right? So, okay, so let's go through a summary.
Arguably, the Bible itself is was written over a course of 500 years.
The Bible, the Old Testament, or the New Testament?
New Testament.
About the New Testament.
Yeah.
It's,
no,
the 100 year, I'd say. Because I think the last book of the Testament was written around 7 to 80, year 780. Right?
Okay.
80. Yeah.
May have been manipulated over that period, and obviously manipulated later on with the King James and King.
Well, the King James and all the other ones are just translations of the original, so you wouldn't consider them.
And plus, like the Roman, between the Greek translation and the Roman translation, translating from Greek to Roman is really horrible.
Latin. You mean Latin, right?
Yeah, Latin. You're right. You know what I mean? It's just
Greek to Latin. Yeah.
from Greek to Latin is just horrible. Like a lot of the wording got messed up, and
St. Jerome is the one that translated all the Bibles to Latin.
Hence the reason why educated Greeks were so prized as slaves and educators during the Roman
occupation.
Not occupation, but the Roman sort of existence.
They considered it more of like an occupation because, like, the Romans pretty much ruled everything around to Alexandria, from even through the Levant, you know what I mean? So they occupied that entire territory. It was theirs to rule.
What language did the Romans speak?
Latin.
Classical Latin, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, with the Book of Enoch, I don't see, this kind of goes into the whole the when they canonize the books, and like you can see where clearly the Book of Enoch belonged in the book. It was like, because like the Christian and the Jewish religion wasn't just like one sect of people that believed one specific thing. It was a whole different groups of people that had different belief systems. You know,
within Jewish, they do sex, even.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the Essenes, they have the Pharisees, the Sadducees. Okay, that provide the Gnostics.
Yeah.
Later.
Let's not talk about the Gnostics. Oh my goodness. That's the part where Mr. Robot would have gotten excited and come in and started telling you a whole bunch of
with the aliens.
Well, that's a part of the Gnostic thing, yeah.
We will talk on behalf of the robots. We go through some of these. For example, they probably thinks the Watch are aliens, right?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, anybody in there, any respectable Ancient Aliens follower would say that the Watchers were aliens.
Sorry, respectable and Ancient Alien followers. Those two phrases don't really work together.
Well, I mean, it's all in how you decide on it. Like when it comes to a lot of the stuff that Ancient Aliens introduced, they did what I like to call cherry picking. Okay, and there was a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't actually truth. There was a whole lot of it. But what they did is they cherry picked throughout history, and they picked what they wanted to add into their shows and what they didn't want to add into their shows, so that it would fit a narrative that they were trying to build. You know,
isn't that any sort of medium?
Exactly.
Ever since the creation of mediums, ever since we started, old traditions.
And the Watchers, I mean, the Watchers have that element that makes you stop and think. You know, they could have been aliens. I mean, they would have been like the early version of what we would call alien sightings, to be honest with you. I mean, they would.
Or extraterrestrials.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be careful. Yeah, because aliens and extraterrestrials, and when you talk about angels, it's a bit of a weird subject, because aliens per se are just beings, often just not of our sort of realm, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
And,
so aliens, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I get where he's coming from there, because because like
Extraterrestrial beings.
extra dimensional beings from other
But you could
dimensions.
say, well, heaven and hell are extra dimensional
Right,
entity or places.
right. See, I figured out where you're going with that. It just, that's why I kept quiet, because I'm smooth like that. You know what I mean?
When
News operator.
when you talk about aliens, you're talking about little green men from outer space.
Well, I mean,
From Mars.
that's what they're
Those are
saying.
Martians.
From Venus, from Alpha Centauri, yeah.
That's what they're saying. Now, me, I agree with the whole possibility that these could be extra dimensional people, but that's only because I've done research into like parapsychology and how that relates to physics and stuff and consciousness. You know, which they really tap into that whole consciousness area of things. And like when you go back into history and you look at these angels and these fallen ones, I mean, and then you compare them to the good daemon of the Phoenicians, I mean, there's no denying it. They have to be related in some way, you know.
Again, folklore, sort of.
Well, that's where it's all at. That's where it's all at. Because like history doesn't really portray itself very well. It's like even when you go into the Middle Ages, if you look at actual documentation of what took place in the Middle Ages, they don't have very good documentation whatsoever. So you have to kind of go off of that oral tradition and the folklore. That's where most of our history comes from.
Depends on the specific subject, but
Right.
again, you've got to be somewhat educated to be able to read and write. The majority of the population up to quite recently, up to what, the last 100, 150, 200 years, haven't been able to have those skills.
Right. Well, except for the church, like they would.
Yeah.
They,
Again, you have to be educated and obviously be some sort of organizational sort of.
right.
Yeah.
We're probably going to frustrate Tan if we keep talking about aliens and
No, it's okay, but it would be better if you talk about it in context, because I want to go through the summaries of the whole book. So, right. So maybe when you start talking about aliens, when we get to this part, which is the fall of the Watchers, and okay. So summaries, chapters of the book, chapters 1 to 5 talk about Enoch delivering a message, a blessing and judgment. And he's foretelling of a future day of tribulation, which is very similar to the book of Revelation, where God will come to destroy the wicked and the watchers, the fallen angels. All right. So, yeah, so far nothing controversial there. Chapter 6 to 10 talks about how the fallen angel lust over human women, right? They came down and they married human women and fathered giants called the Nephilims, who devour the resource of earth. And they teach heavenly forbidden secrets to humans, like alchemy, sorcery.